But we're finally here,
Awesome. Finally we could make the time. That's good.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, I've been looking forward to it. So I haven't done any interviews with anybody from any outlet except for a local guy that I know here. He did a like a long interview with me about something, man. But I haven't talked to any media or anything since I left the band,
Yeah. I saw that video. That was quite cool. Quite in depth.
Yeah, he went all the way, man. I didn't know he was going to go that far. So yeah, I think I said everything I needed to say right there.
You said quite a bit there. Yeah, indeed. No, just to get back to it. When was it? When did we speak in Osnabrück, Germany? That was 2018, I think. Wow, that's quite a while ago already. Yeah.
Yeah, so, did we meet? I'm trying to remember where the hell we met, man.
It was outside the club that had a parking lot right in front of it, and we were talking basically outside by where the buses are. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but that's all kind of a distant memory to me now too, man.
Yes.
It's moved so fast.
Yeah, but you probably talk to more people than I do, so hard for you to remember. But anyway, yeah, and very surprised was I when shortly thereafter I saw the band continuing, basically in a different sort of lineup, and I was just like, what?
Yeah. They're pretty adamant about still doing that under that title,
Yeah.
Good luck.
But good luck. But you were there with Marzi, hey?
With with Marzi?
Well, when you were in the lineup, it was Marzi on the other guitar, hey?
Correct. Yeah. It was Marzi, Jason, Brooks, and Sasha Horn. They're still there. Marzi had to go too.
Yeah. That I quickly saw quickly thereafter, and now it's Pat O'Brien from Cannibal, and yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about that. I do know that Marzi's days were probably numbered over there too. So I can't. Marzi's not the kind of cat that likes to take orders. He's like me, he doesn't like to, you got to ask nice.
Yeah.
And so, but he's in a better place now.
Okay.
I think we all are, to be honest.
That'll be interesting to see. They're obviously marching on and announced a new album and all that stuff, but let's talk more about you. I think that's more important. I think from what I've gathered, you dabbling in a few things at the moment, and
I'm doing. I took some time off. I still have a ton of material that I've written. Was supposed to be for the next Exhorder record. I have those songs. I have some solo project stuff that's a little more funky, a little more down home, a little more bluesy, but still heavy. So I'm excited about that. So that's on my own personal stuff that I'm doing. I've been steady at work there, but I've also been doing a lot of production work, man, in the studio down here at OCD. OCD Studios is run by Dwayne Simino, the same guy that did More in the Southern Skies. It was the same studio.
Cool.
So we worked so well together on that album, me and Dwayne, that we and I've been knowing Dwayne for years, so we decided to kind of team up and take on some projects here or there that stuff that we would want to work on. So currently we're co-producing the I Am project with Kirk Winstein, T,
Nice.
Kenny Hickey, and Johnny Kelly from Typo. So we're mixing and doing things, and producing and still writing for that project. And I'm not sure when that EP is coming out, but they're releasing. We just did the single Kryptonesia, and that was great. And so I'm not sure when the rest of the album's going to come out, but we're still working on it now. And the other project that I've done, and it's in the can and ready to go, is Kirk Winstein's solo album, his second one. Yeah. He called me up about 2 years ago, and he says, "Hey Vince, man, why don't you come in and do like some Sweetie tracks? It's like a little solo here or there for this, that, or the other." So I went in and did some things, and he called me up. He's like, "Man, that was great." He said, "Man, why don't you like co-produce this with Dwayne, for me, So that went on for about, on and off for like a year. So, but that's in the can. That's ready. I've co-written some of the stuff with him. I played on it, produced it with Dwayne. It's a great fucking album. I can't wait for that thing to come out because it's going to be something cool, man. And I don't think people are looking, people are going to be expecting from Kurt,
Okay.
It's a heavy album though.
Yep.
His first solo album was kind of like an ambient, kind of a moody, doomy kind of a thing, and this has some elements of that, but it's really a heavy album, man. So we're excited about that too.
Oh, cool. No, it's good to yeah, I was just wondering, there was no, like you said, you just stayed away from the media, and it was just really this overnight change, and I was just wondering, well, what's he up to now? What's he doing?
Yeah, it's been tough, man, because look, when you leave a band that you started 40 fucking years ago, can I curse on this show?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, good, fantastic, because I got a shitty mouse, and it's hard to control. So, so yeah, when you leave a band that you started, when you were a teenager, I mean, Exhorder is all I've ever known, and I've played, with other bands and people and jamming and shit, but I mean, my main band was always, that, everybody's always asked me, over the years, why don't you do a solo project? Why don't you do a solo project? And even now, people are like, dude, do a fucking solo project. I'm like, well, I already did. Exhorder was my fucking solo project. That everything about that. So when that happened, it was kind of it was a shock. It was, I woke up the next morning and I was like, fuck, I'm not an Exhorder. I'm not, anymore. So, what I decided to do was just kind of pull back, peel away from the media. I didn't want to get pounded with questions and what am I doing now? And what am I going to do? And, I had to digest the whole, idea of not being, there anymore, because it wasn't really something I wanted to do. I didn't want to leave. So, I was kind of forced out in a roundabout way. So, it was tough to do that. So I figured, man, let me just kind of peel back. Well, that turned into 4 years of me not talking to really anybody about anything. So I'm comfortable with it now. I have been for a while. So yeah. So now it's not about finding a new identity. I know who the fuck I am and I know what I do. It's just now we gotta put it under a different banner.
But here's a question that it's burning on my under my nails, is if I listen to the old albums and we don't need to go into the nitty gritty percentages of who wrote what, but I was always under the impression that the sort of the guitar style, the riffing style, the groove and all that was basically came from you. And so the first question that popped up in my mind was kind of like, now who's gonna pen the material, And to my surprise, the first thing I saw was Kyle actually with a flying V around him, handling vocals and guitars. So wow, yeah.
Well, God bless his heart. He's given it the old college try, but I mean, I can tell you this. I mean, you know, I did write. I mean, some people will tell you and try and, you know, give you a different story about what happened, but you generally can't go by what's written on the publishing liner notes on, you know, these songs, because back in the day, our mentality was everybody split everything equally.
All for one, yeah. All for all.
So no matter who wrote what, you know, Chris Nail got, you know, publishing, you know, Jay, everybody got publishing equally, whether
Yeah.
you wrote on the song or not, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, I can tell you this. I mean, 95% of what you hear from Mourn the Southern Skies back to Slaughter was written by me. And I can't like prove that now, because in print, you know, like, let me put it to you this way. Jay Saravalo, my second guitar player back in the day, he didn't join the band until 1988.
Yeah.
All of the songs for Slaughter in the Vatican were written before 1987.
There you go.
So how the fuck does Jay Saravalo get publishing writing credits for songs that he wasn't even around for when they were being written?
Yes. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
that's what I'm saying. So I'm not lying when I tell you, you know that band can't never sound the way it used to without myself or someone like a Jay, or you know, even though Jay didn't write a whole lot of stuff, even on the law, you know, he didn't put in a lot of work there. It's going to be tough for them to recreate that sound. You know, there's no way they can. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, because it's just a certain style of riffing, and me being a huge Exhorder fan, we've gotten used to over albums like the debut and the Law especially. And look, I'm not going to crit or whatever. I mean, I've heard the new tracks, and it's kind of, yeah, okay, cool, but
Right.
you know, it doesn't really. I don't want to diss anything or whatever, but it doesn't. For me, it doesn't sort of strike the nerve that it used to, you know, and you can hear that, you know.
You know, the only critique I can say, man, you know, and I got to be careful here, because, but I'll say this, okay? If you ever wanted to know what Agnostic Front sounded like with blast beats and Phil Anselmo singing, you got it. There we go. That's the new Exhorder for you. You know, I don't hear any fucking elements of anything we did when we were younger, and the reason why is because Kyle was never involved in that piece of the process. You know, I would write a fucking song, and Andy, my former bass player, and Jay or David Main, my former guitar player from back in the day, might throw a riff or something in at me, and we piece it together. And you know, Kyle would sit there until it was time for him to sing. I mean, I would map this thing out, and we'd lay it all out, and he would come in and sing. And a lot of places I would tell him, hey, we're going to put vocals here, but we're not going to sing here. And we would kind of produce him until he came into his own, you know. And early on, I even had to write a lot of lyrics, you know. I mean, I wrote fucking 3 or 4 songs lyrically before he was even in the band, before Kyle was with me. So he has no clue. I mean, look, you can't take a few fucking guitar lessons for a year or two and decide you're going to go out and fucking play like Vinnie La Bella and write like Vinnie La Bella. You're just not. Any more than I'm going to go out and have fucking singing lessons for a year and think I'm going to go out and sing like Kyle fucking Thomas on my next record. You know? So that's kind of where we're at. He doesn't. And look, it's smart for them to change the style of it, you know, but it's not smart to keep the name. I don't think the band, you know, what they've released is horrible, you know, but it's definitely fucking Exhorder, you know.
Yeah, that's the thing, and old fans will know. I think they're probably counting on a new crowd to sort of come in, especially if they're going to be very active. But right. I think a lot of the old crew will notice, you know, definitely. I hear a strong. I think you're very spot on with Agnostic. It's That's what I've heard. It's a very hardcore approach. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, I'm going to say this because it needs to be said. They really don't play most of the old stuff correctly. They didn't while I was in the band. Brooks and Monazeri had their own way of doing things, and not my way of doing things, which would put them on stage unprepared sometimes, and a lot of the time. And a lot of the time they were just playing wrong notes. I mean, look, if you really go back and look at some of those YouTube videos from some of those festival runs and shows that we did, and you really fucking listen to what's going on, it's shit. You know, and they're still not playing the songs right. So there's nobody there to show them. You know, I mean, yeah, look, you might get through Legions of Death or fucking Homicide, you know, some of the easier stuff pretty fucking, you know, steadily. But I can tell you right now, that band is not playing Tragic Period correctly. There's a reason why we didn't play anything off the fucking law in those sets. You know, we played the easiest stuff that we could off of that album because that's all they could fucking handle. There's no I Am the Cross. There's no Unborn Agains. There's no fucking Truth. There's no, all of the hard shit was an impossibility to fucking play.
Yeah, with different time signatures, that kind of shit. Yeah,
and look, you know, I was kind of taken by fucking surprise with that, you know. So you know, these are professional fucking musicians, suppose, you know, that you know, you're hiring to do this job, and you know, come to find out they can't do the fucking job, and even 3 years after, you know, you hire them, they're still fucking there doing, you know, what they're doing, and they're still there now, not playing the fucking songs correctly. So I don't give a fuck who you get. You can go get Pat O'Brien. You can go get fucking Jesus Christ. Yeah, I don't give a fuck who you get on guitar.
No, it doesn't matter, you know. It's exactly.
So, but they do enough to get by. You know, they do.
Yeah.
In a live setting. You know, my gripe was always this. Listen, in a live setting, if you got to fake it through a part, okay, fine, you know, slip through it, but nobody will really kind of notice that in the venue. But when you're fucking playing at Hellfest in front of 60,000, and you got cameras fucking everywhere, and they're piped into the board, I'm like, listen, you motherfuckers are going to be found out, you know, if you don't have your shit together. And if you really go back and listen to that shit, you know, that there's mistakes and crap. I mean, a lot of nights, dude, I was just fucking embarrassed, you know, about doing. So, you know, to me, you got to change the style of it to a simpler version of what you can handle to play. If you try and play outside of your ability, which I think we all do at some point, because we're pushing, you know, we like to put. I mean, at least I do. I like to get right up on the line of I can't do something, you know, with things, and try and make it happen to see what kind of tension I can build and what I can release from that. But if you don't, you know, if you can't fucking play that shit, don't fucking try. That's why I'm saying I don't think what they've done so far is a horrible thing. You know, it's not like, oh man, it's fucking, that sucks, you know. But there's nothing there. You know, for an Exhorder fan like yourself, or you know, an old school fan, or even some. I mean, look, I got my ass chewed out a little bit for some of the stuff I did on Mourn the Southern Skies because it was a little more subdued or more song structured. It wasn't as frantic, you know. So they couldn't expound on that record because they don't have the ability to. Okay. So they had to digress back and do simpler stuff like more hardcore based things, but I don't know what the fuck. I mean, look, it's being billed as some kind of back to the roots fucking Exhorder.
No.
I don't hear any of that either. You know what I'm saying? Like, it sounds more like fucking Agnostic Front with blast beats to me. You know?
No, that's pretty spot on actually. But getting back to that, look, I can personally understand something where you jippo it through a section because you've had to fly in someone else on guitar for a festival show because somebody's ill, and you just, you know, you go bare bones on it and just sort of let's just make it through the show. That's understandable. Sure. But obviously long term that poses a problem, man. Yeah.
Well, poor Pat O'Brien, and I don't know Pat personally, so I mean I can't speak to his to his person, but he's a fantastic fucking guitar player. I'm actually pretty proud that a guy like that stepped in to fill my shoes,
Yeah.
but he's doing it wrong and he don't even fucking know because they don't know.
Because there's no one there to say to him, listen, there's this little nuance, there's that, just keep that in mind, yeah, they're just playing.
There's only one person left on the face of the earth. And even Jay Saravalo probably couldn't, he wouldn't remember all of those riffs from back in the day, because every time we would get back together back in the day when we were younger, I would have to re-show Jay, the songs. He just like totally forget them,
Yeah.
But if nobody's there to show them exactly how to play this shit, I mean, so poor Pat's out there playing wrong notes and he don't even fucking know it. But hey, look, they're getting away with it, and I don't know how long, I know this. When you take on something of that fucking magnitude and you got a lot of people in your corner, the higher ups at labels and management companies and people that are backing you, and they rah-ing you, and they're telling you, hey man, you can, we can do this, and don't worry, we can overcome. You might be a little overconfident that you because like I said, man, look, to me, and I preface all of the shit I say about them and that subject with, it's of my opinion. And it is of my opinion that, that's a decent band now, I guess. That's, okay. That probably should change the fucking name, and let the, but you can't, because, Exhorder brings, when you have that, banner, it brings a little bit more money, brings a little bit more clout, it brings a little bit more to the table. Starting over with a new name,
tough.
It's hard,
Yeah.
Which I got to do, so.
Got to do it, definitely.
But I'm okay with it.
But you had reservations, from what I gathered from the other interview. You had, I think the whole thing, correct me if I'm wrong, it sort of all materialized through the label conditions. Did you have reservations there, or?
Yeah, it did, because I had a project going on with Sasha and Jason before the Exhorder idea even came up. And while that was going on, Vibrooks would, he kind of pushed for the Exhorder thing a little bit. And I was like, man, look, you know how that works, man. Me and Kyle just don't jive, dude. And if we do, it's only for a little while. And within 2 or 3 years, dude, we're going to be fucking wanting to kill one another. So I said, we're just going to waste, I'm not going to waste all this material on him and that bullshit, that goes on with that. So long story short, friend of ours knew a manager from Switzerland that was very interested in the project at the time, but he was more interested in getting Exhorder back together. I kept trying to tell that motherfucker too. I'm like, listen, I know what you want, okay? And I know what my people want. I know what the people want. They want to see Exhorder back together. I would love to do it again. But I'm telling you, it's only going to last so long with these people. It's just how it is. It's how it's been, our whole life. So I said, to do that is risky. And, long story short, that project got pushed further and further back for more interest in getting Kyle to do Exhorder. So I gave into it, and because I wanted it too. I wanted to get back together. I wanted to maybe try and give it a shot and, see if we could right all of those wrongs and put out a great album and go forward and start over. And, it turned out the way I figured it would,
Yeah.
It always does, I used to call it the Exhorder 7-year itch, we would be, we would hate each other for 7 years. And then somebody would call somebody after that and go, hey, you want to try it again? And then we'd be like, yeah. And then it would last for about 3 years. And then we go back to the 7-year fucking break,
It's like that old relationship you try to patch up.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we had a project, going, and all of the songs on More in the Southern Skies was supposed to be for that project, for my own project, with another singer and a whole new outfit. So, but look, I think it turned out okay. In the end, it didn't. We didn't get the what we set out to do. But however, I left one more great album, I feel, on the table for Exhorder fans that kind of, in my mind, closes the book on that. I mean, let's be fucking honest. The book's fucking closed on that shit. Who knows what this is going to sound like now with, whoever they get to fucking play guitar. It doesn't.
Yeah. Absolutely. But now, okay, you've mentioned your involvement with Kirk and the projects and the producing that you're involved with now. Is there any plan to put something of your own out there?
Well, I am working. Yeah, I've talked to. Got kind of a surprise situation going on with an old member from Exhorder, very old member from Exhorder. And we got a couple of singles we may do depending on his availability. I don't think it'll be anything we do a bunch of touring and stuff on, but it will definitely be some songs that I think Exhorder fans will be happy with, or fans of us will be happy with. I also have another project going on the side with that I'm writing for. Like I said, I got some solo stuff. I'm doing some other stuff with Winstein on another project that I don't want to officially announce or say anything really, because it's down the line. It's probably about a year away from seeing any material for that. But we're doing some writing together there. We did so well together on his solo album, man. We really kind of stepped back and said, man, we should do something else together, So we're working on some stuff there for that. And as far as my, any kind of solo work or anything, it'll probably be just singles, but here that I'll pop out here or there for my own stuff. But I have stuff that's, that I'm moving, the sound in, I'm kind of morphing the sound into the future, man, and adding some elements. I have some stuff that's strict Exhorder style stuff, man, that I like doing. And the stuff that me and Winstein are when we write together, that's incredible. And that's something different for me because I haven't had a real writing partner since the early days, man. Since really, Andy Villafara, my first bass player that was in Exhorder with me. He actually did, help with some things on Exhorder, on Slaughter in the Vatican. To work with a group of guys, because believe me, man, I never wanted to have to I never wanted to be that guy where I just write all the fucking songs and you just play what the note I write for you and this passage and just play it like that. I always, wanted to, explore the other members, ability and see how it, and whenever me and Kirk do sit down together, man, it's something always killer fucking happens like immediately, and I kind of attribute that to him, man, because he's been writing like that his whole life, bouncing off of his people, and Down, he does the same thing, they get in a room together as a band and they write, on the spot, Exhorder, I had to fucking go home and pick it all out and prepare it and then bring it back to them somewhat prepared and ask them, hey, what would you do to expound on this? And 9 times out of 10 they would just say, yeah, it's good how it is,
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have anything. I got outlines for what's going to happen, but as far as releases, I really don't know. I believe that a lot of stuff should come out toward the end of this year for me. No matter what it is, even the production stuff, the stuff that I'm producing. Right. Let me roll these windows up, man. I'm starting to rain out here a little bit.
It's got rainy weather.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always raining in New Orleans, man. Shit. So sorry about that.
No, but yeah, wow, amazing. But yeah, I hear you. There's you get those setups like you mentioned down, where you get 4 really prolific writing types of characters in a room, and man, you've got canned heat, bang, it goes. Then you've got the scenario where it's more of a Dave Mustaine situation. I doubt anyone in that band writes a single note.
Yeah, and it's more of a, probably with Dave, it's probably, I'll allow that. If somebody has an idea, yes, I'll allow it.
Yeah.
I never took that position with Exhorder, man. I just know this: if I wasn't finishing and composing songs, they weren't getting done.
Yes.
Whenever. Matter of fact, they would come to me. I remember like a period between like 80. I want to say 88 and 1990 or so. I didn't really write anything. I think I wrote a few things coming up for the law. I wrote "I Am the Cross" during that period of time, but man, I was just partying and drinking. I didn't really have writer's block or anything, but I just wasn't inspired to write a whole lot, And they would call me up. They'd be like, "Dude, we need fucking songs, man." I'm like, "Well, you motherfuckers, you got fingers too, and give me something, shit, But and look, I'm not citing anybody or blaming anybody for, but nobody really fucking helped me and put in that kind of effort. Now Kyle, in his defense, man, look, that dude's brilliant. I'll even say that to this day. We may not get along right now, but to me, Kyle Thomas is always going to be the greatest fucking singer I've ever known. That dude just gets better with age. And even on this stuff, the highlight of that new stuff that they're putting out is fucking him, So, I would write a song and I would give it to him and he would come back, dude, with just fucking sheer greatness. I would never have to go, well, let's replace this line and let's replace this word and let's phrase this way, man. He really came into his own, dude, when he was young and he was quick, and I didn't have to tell him anything, man. I learned more from him, about vocals and things, man, and watching him do his thing than I could ever do. I was writing shit like Desecrator and Anal Lust and, the whole, I was doing the 4-letter word lyrics, the stuff. Yeah. He came in and was doing shit like, Tragic Period and Edgar Allan Poe stuff, man. And, and he just had he was so much better at it than I was, man. I was just like, dude, I'm not going to try and even pretend that I can do this, So, to me, it's always great when you got guys in the band, man, that are masters at what they do, but can also kick in and create with you too. And that's an element that I kind of didn't have there. The guys weren't really creative. Chris Nail was, my drummer was, and he was an integral part in creating that groove sound, and taking what, thrash riffs and things that I was doing and really putting some, mustard on it, so to speak, but I haven't had that in a long time. But I got it with, with me and Winstein get in the room, no matter what it is, whether we're, doing something for his solo project or whatever, it's always fucking quick and spontaneous and just lightning in a bottle, man. Good stuff, I don't have to go home and tweak it much and think about it, it's just there, So I'm probably more excited about that project than anything,
Yeah. But that's good. Yeah, but I know that as being a guitarist myself, I know sometimes you just take, if people aren't going to bring ideas to the table, and that's not a dictatorial thing. It's just you just take initiative, because probably because you've got more enthusiasm and you can't, I've learned that over many years of being in a band, you can't expect the same sort of enthusiasm from everybody. And so by default, you'll end up being the one, or you or the 2 guitarists will be the people that bring the almost finished songs to the table, to the point where we even had to write vocal passages for the singer,
Right. Right. You
You
know,
know?
that's I try to compartmentalize it. Every time Exhorder gets back together, um, I finally lost count of how many fucking times. But every time we get back together, the first thing I always say to Kyle is, okay, American football, okay? I'm your center. You're the fucking quarterback, okay? I'm gonna call your protections on the line, okay? I'm gonna field the band for you, okay? That's gonna protect you, you know. So whatever you do, help me out, okay? And just don't get in the way of that process. Don't try and do something, and I say this in general about to any musician. Don't try and do something that you're not fucking really qualified to do or that you haven't done before. And if you are trying to fucking do it, if let's make sure you're good at doing it, you know, but if you're gonna quarterback the fucking team, focus on throwing the fucking ball, okay? And handing it off. Don't get involved with the musicians that I'm fielding for you to do that. You don't compartmentalize yourself, you know. Um, Try to get my drummer to work with my bass players, you know. And if I got a good bass player at the time and not, you know, some fucking lazy son of a bitch that rides fucking me all night, you know, yeah. If I don't have that, then I got a drummer and a bass player that like to jam together and do their thing, which I had with Chris Nail and Andy Villafara, and even with Frankie. You know, Frankie was a great fucking bass player. Um, you know, he wasn't a jazz guy, but Frankie was a protege, man. Frankie was the kind of guy I could be like, listen, I can't slap bass too good, so I need you to do these slap parts on Unborn Again on the Law. And I hand him the bass, and he just fucking starts slapping. You know, okay, fuck, there he is. So I try to do that, you know, to where, you know, if guys specialize in stuff and I see that, I want them to be able to do that and do what they do well, but then integrate it into the product. I hate the fact that I had to basically finish this shit soup to fucking nuts. I mean, damn near every song, produce the motherfucking, you know, albums, worry about guitar tones, worry about fucking drum tones, worry about, you know, um, but look, you know, it's a labor of love. It's not like I'm complaining about it.
Definitely.
Yeah, yeah, you know, you enjoy doing it, you know, but um, when when it ends up in the shitter at the end of the day, you know, you always look back at it and go, you know, you try and pick apart what went wrong, and it's always the same story, man. It's always somebody trying to do something or wanting something that they don't fucking have a right to. And being adamant about that and not being pliable, man. I mean, look, if I joined Dave Mustaine's band, I know what time it is, man. You shut the fuck up, play what the man says,
And be tight.
and don't you show up fucking sloppy and riding the fucking E all night because you find your ass, you know, whipped or something. You know, Dave ain't no bitch. You know, so. Uh, You know, that's what I'm saying. You know, that's where all the problems run. People wanting to overplay or over, you know, they just it's too much, man. Just don't try and do shit out of your wheelhouse or ability.
Yeah, or basically, and out of that disqualification, basically trying to mess with the formula. That's what, you know.
That's what happens, you know. And you know, I got a little flack. I'm going to be very revealing on this piece of this. I got a lot of flack from the guys on More in the Southern Skies because um I had a lot of material, you know, and it wasn't like I was saying, hey, look, I got all of this material and I'm going to write this whole entire album and I'm going to produce it. That wasn't the plan. You know, I always told them, hey, bring me fucking riffs. Just throw me riffs. If you don't write whole songs, send me a riff a week, man. You can't send me a fucking riff a week, you know? If you can't send me a riff a week, you just fucking collecting a check here, okay? And you're not even doing that well because you go out on the fucking stage and you play, you know, you play some of the songs wrong, and you embarrass yourself and me. So that's, you know, that shit didn't. that shit didn't fly. I mean, it's hard to it's hard to get guys to do what you need them to do. They always want to fucking do what they can't do, and they want to do it on your dime, your time, and your fucking thing. That's been, like you said, it already has a formula. But I tried to get those cats to give me stuff for that album. Nobody gave me any fucking riffs. Now Jason Vibbrooks gave me a song that I kind of didn't want to put on the record, the Rumination. It wasn't a bad song. It was just not, it didn't have any, exhorder. So I took it and kind of fucking exhorderized it a little bit. And to me, that's the only thing I've ever compromised on in that band was, I put a song on an album that probably shouldn't have went on there. Just because I don't feel it was, cohesive. But I wanted the guys. He was the only one that, Marzi didn't give me no fucking riffs. He was the only one that wanted to have a song on the fucking record. So I wanted to facilitate that, I wanted to be a team player. I want this to be a band effort. When you don't step up, man, I got to do it myself. Nobody wanted to step up and produce the fucking thing. They left me in the fucking studio, fucking day and night and day, working drums, working fucking guitars, playing all the bass tracks. Jason didn't play none of my bass players played any of those fucking bass tracks on any album I've ever done. I've always played them all. I hate to be kingish on this, but so to speak. But I know he just came out and said he played all the Tom's bass tracks, but I mean it's the fucking truth, There's documentation. There's documented evidence that my bass players did not play on my fucking albums, and it's only because they weren't prepared to.
Yeah.
If they would prepare themselves, I'll let you play on the fucking album. So anyway.
But it requires discipline and enthusiasm. I mean. I would be crushed if I was in a band with no matter who, and I would see that this person is sitting there alone in the studio and I'm not even playing my parts. Yeah, I personally would be embarrassed. I would like, whoa.
Yeah, it got pretty ugly in the studio after a while, man, because we did drums, and I'm talking about for more the Southern Skies. We did drums. It went over budget. It went 2 weeks longer or 3 weeks longer than it was supposed to. And it was all because of unpreparedness. Yeah. And I'll just leave it at that. On some folks' part, a lot of unpreparedness, which wasted a lot of time and a lot of money. And then when it was time to do bass tracks, same fucking thing. Just unpreparedness. So I had to cut that short and do that. And I always play all of the rhythm tracks. So Marzi came in and played some solos, but he was unprepared too. He didn't have anything prepped. We kind of produced him live in the studio and came up with stuff for him to play in one day, So Marzi did 5 or 6 fucking solos on that record, and they were all done in one fucking day, ad lib on the spot, produced by me and Wayne. Well, why not fucking, I mean, I've watched that motherfucker, spend a week writing a solo for Michael Sweet from fucking Stryper, but and you're in my band, and I can't get you to prepare a couple of solos, show up to the fucking studio with nothing and a fucking guitar with strings on it from the fucking prior tour that we just did. That's what I'm saying. Like. That the level of so it kind of morphed into Vinnie La Bella produced, More the Southern Skies when, technically I did, but because I had to, because nobody came to the fucking studio. Kyle, Marzi, nobody with Jay, none of them were fucking there. It was just me, Dwayne, and whoever was doing the tracks at the time, whether it been Chris Nail for the guest spot that he did or Sasha or Jason or whatever.
I'm amazed you mentioned studio. I mean, a lot of the new albums are happening on laptops as we speak.
I know, right?
So everybody's sitting at home and
Well, now you got these amp sims and shit. I mean, all of the guitar tones on More in the Southern Skies were done with real amps. The old school way.
Yeah.
Um, different mics and positions and things. So I didn't lean on a lot of technology for that record. Nowadays, we don't really lean on the technology, but there is a lot of things that make things a little easier to achieve.
Sure, for sure. Yeah.
But
That's
but
amazing.
you can't write.
Amazing.
But you can't write. You're right. You can't write albums and record them in a bedroom forever and think that that's going to have some kind of breathable life.
Yeah. That's it. I think a lot of the stuff. That's why a lot of the material out there you can hear immediately is automatically quite, because it's so tight to the grid. There's no room. There's no that minimal human error, that push and pull that makes it a bit more human. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And I'm not a fan of editing. To if you're going to perform something, perform. But timing issues, yeah. I mean, I don't mind correcting something on a timing level, just because if you're on the grid and you got to do everything on a click, you're right. It can if you're fucking too perfect, it starts to sound mechanical. So purposely I play behind the beat a lot, and we do things to not do that while still remaining on the grid, so to speak.
Yeah. There's that little leeway there.
Yeah. You find that little pocket and just try and exploit it, and just try not to over perfect it.
A lot of stuff that's coming out now is sounding very sterile, and obviously it's probably, if it's with every new technology, there's always a pro and con, but I just find so many bands, it's sounding the same. You can almost, the snare drums, I feel, is like sometimes identical to that 10 bands use. The guitar sound, same thing, same sim amps, sims.
Yeah.
You can't tell them apart, eh?
Metal's got no character anymore, and I've all man, I'll fly that flag high for metal, till the day I die. But I'll be honest with you, man, I don't listen to a lot of fucking metal anymore. And if I do, it's the old stuff. It's the stuff I grew up on. Because you're right. I mean, there might be a few bands here or there that get it and do it well today, but not much, man. Like you said, every fucking thing that comes out to me just got no character. I can't tell it apart. The singers, the singers were always similar, even before all the technology. But like you said, now, if you want Gary Holt's fucking tone, you can go buy it. He's got a fucking profile pack or something from STL that you can buy, and you can just plug Gary's fucking tone right into your computer and record an album and release that shit.
And that I find sad. As a guitar player, I don't like that. I mean, I also delve into Sims and stuff, but I always try and fiddle with it and make it different, run it through different. I'll do a track where I mic my amp and I'll left-right it with a Sim, for instance. And that's what I enjoy that a lot, and try and get something that's my signature, that sounds like me, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, like combining Sims, and stacking amps maybe to create a tone that no one would normally, do, instead of some cookie cutter out of the box,
Exactly. Interesting. That was actually going to be my next question. With what do you listen to nowadays? But you basically already answered it, and it's sort of a sad development. I also find myself going back to the old stuff, listening to the old stuff a lot. Maybe it's also my age. I mean, I've got my young boy is now really heavily into metal. Now he's obviously discovering very few modern bands, and which sort of don't really fall into my taste roster anymore, because what I can't stand is all the screamo,
Yeah. Well, if you go to scream, it's got to mean something,
Yeah.
That constant fucking monotone screaming in one note, it's.
Can you check your phone? Your sound is very mono. Can you check your device? Your sound, you're like very thin. Or maybe it's Skype.
It might be Skype. let's see, Johan. I haven't touched anything. It might be I got good reception.
Yeah, no, it's a little bit better now, but it's, then it's probably Skype. But yeah, you're 100% right. When it's that monotonous, just belting it out, it gets so irritating. And that's when I grew up. You had a band like Voivod that didn't sound like Testament, and you had you had so many different bands. And
when we were kids, we could tell the difference between Celtic Frost and Voivod.
Yeah.
We could tell the difference between Testament and Metallica. Today I can't tell the difference between I don't want to say any fucking names to be honest, but you know what I'm saying. And it's bad, dude. Like 40 fucking bands will sound like I can't tell which band out of 40 this is. Even when the singer starts fucking singing, I can't tell. Even the production.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Sound thing that everybody's doing, is that everybody's kind of using that same production style too,
Yeah, definitely. But it's remember in the 80s when you had the larger than life snare drum. I mean, just think of Def Leppard, that came and went, and it's what I keep telling my boy as well. So listen, this is going to come and go, and it'll always come back to, can you sing? The screamer thing is going to be over at some point, and that's another thing that I find sorely lacking in the scene nowadays is really good. They're a dying breed.
Yeah, good. You just say good vocals.
Good vocals. Yeah. I mean, good dynamics, feeling.
Right. That's so tough, man. Like I said,
and I don't mean virtuoso. I mean, look at someone like, for instance, Blackie Lawless. I mean, what a voice! You pick that voice out amongst a million, and it's unique.
Yeah, they got character. You knew when it was Tom G. Warrior singing. You knew when it was Dave singing. Right. You knew. Now you don't know. Well, from what I understand, I don't really know because I haven't looked at a lot of it. But from what I understand, they're starting to use AI now to write fucking music and do shit, man. It's like, okay, how far do we got to go off the cliff, before we pull back and do what you just said? And that's play your fucking instrument and be original and create something new. And that's why metal has not really been anywhere exciting in a long fucking time, in my opinion. It just hasn't, because I think the kids are leaning too much on, the old guard, the old guys, and the new technology is making them fucking all sterile, man.
Yeah.
It just I hate to see it.
I hate to see what's going to happen, because I can see this being very attractive for record labels, because they don't have to. If it's AI, who do you pay? Nobody. You can just kick out songs, 1,000 a day, and there's no what would you call it? Royalties. Who gets the royalties? It's.
Yeah, right. Now they ain't got to pay nobody.
Right. So
I bet they'll love that.
Total winnings.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know where we go from here. I know this: when things get too far to the extreme, they generally fall off the cliff and end up coming back. And I think that's going to happen one day. I think the kids, another generation from now, maybe, or maybe even this one, will smarten up and go, listen, we need to take this genre further. Don't be afraid to mix genres either. Look, I feel like this, man. I've been doing this shit for on and off for almost 40 years, and I only have 3 fucking albums and a single to show for it, but I feel in my heart that I made them count. You know what I mean? It put out, 15 or 10 fucking, cookie cutter, okay, this is expected from Exhorder. We'll just curse a lot, fucking scream, and play really fast and technical riffs and throw some groove in there, and we got an Exhorder album. Okay, next.
Next
You know,
one. Yeah.
right. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to make an impact creatively. Not it I was never concerned about my ability as a player more than I was concerned about what am I bringing to the genre. Am I creating something that can be thrown into the gumbo, so to speak, that counts, and I think we did. I mean, we're creating groove metal and doing that style of thrash and things. So my plan in the future is I don't want to give you more of the same, you know. I want to give you something new. If I'm not breaking ground, I don't want to do a record or a project, you know.
I hear you.
And even if you look at like the old Exhorder material, if Slaughter in the Vatican is nothing like the Law, Law is really nothing like the Slaughter or fucking Mourn. Mourn's a totally different album. So the next Exhorder album that I had on slate, to do with them was going to be a completely different look also, and feel. And that's what I want to do now, and if it's at the risk of at risk, and losing, and mixing genres, maybe, so to speak, and blending things that, because look, you get that, man. You get them hardcore metal guys, man, that, if you play something a little too funky, they're like, that's not metal, Okay, that's your opinion. You can change the fucking channel whenever you like. The next song might have what you're looking for, but
Yeah.
I'm not gonna cornhole myself and curve fit my ability or my creativity to what the fans want, because you're right. You said it. Those fucking labels are the ones to blame. Okay. And I'm at the risk of fucking, because I'm in the business and I got friends in the business, but they all know how I feel. I've said this for fucking decades. I hate the fucking music business. And one of the reasons is because most of these people at these fucking labels don't know what the fuck they're doing. They get lucky, if the band, if they sign a band and the band fucking makes it, they're fucking brilliant. Whoever signed the A&R rep's fucking brilliant. He fucking signed that band and they're fucking squillionaires now.
Yeah.
Well, if they lose, then if the band doesn't get big, well, then it was your fucking fault that you didn't get big.
Exactly.
They can't lose.
Plus, that very same A&R guy goes out and tries to find 700 Machine Head clones. And
Correct.
there you go. That's why
right.
there's a flood of stuff that's so interchangeable. It's laughable.
Who wants to hear? I think that's what killed thrash back in the 90s anyway, was every band, there was a ton of thrash bands, coming out the woodwork, and they all wanted to sound like the other one before them, So you got oversaturation, you got, and everybody sounds just like everybody else, and it's pretty much a bargain basement version of what the predecessor was. So when you get to that extreme, again, it always collapses, pulls back, dust settles, and then creativity starts again. If you're lucky.
It's always a cleansing that sets in.
Yes, and boy, we need one now.
I always felt myself reminded, these China shops where you go in and you get not Nike, but Taiki or whatever. It's just like, that to me is what a lot of these clones feel like when I listen to. I just go, nah. I don't need this thing in stitched badly and badly crafted and it was sort of there, half there. Yeah,
it's unnecessary.
Totally. So yeah, gee, wow, it was great catching up. Yeah, we need to stay in touch.
Absolutely.
Let me know when the projects materialize. You said towards the end of the year we can expect something.
Yeah, something. Maybe. I'm hoping to get something. With myself. I did play a little bit on Kirk's album. On either from the production side or my own side of my own projects that I'm doing with me or other people. I'm hoping to get something out. Something will be out this year. I know the IM stuff is probably, that stuff that we're producing is going to be out. Kirk's solo records should be out this year at some point. We just don't know exactly when. And right now, I'm steadily, in the studio on a weekly basis, putting licks down and putting songs down. So I'm steady at it, but I'm slow, man. It took me 27 years to do my last album. I promise it won't be that long this time. I promise.
We hope.
Yeah, it should be this year though, man.
So if for the info box underneath when I post the video, I'll try and have it up tomorrow. I like to include links to where you can be reached if you want to push something. Do I just go Facebook? Is that?
Yeah, you can go to Facebook, and I'm starting to slowly come back to Facebook because, I got some things coming up this year that are coming. But to be honest, man, I haven't been on Facebook and since I left the band.
Yeah, that's understandable. I mean,
I just totally fucking disappeared. Like I haven't posted anything really, in that long. So, but yeah, if need be, people can hit me on Facebook, and I'll check in a couple times a week now. And, I'm starting to correspond with some fans and some things in Messenger again. And, just letting people back into my life again, before the shit hits the fan again.
Yeah. Sometimes you need to just detach for a while, definitely.
Yeah. It was well needed, to, in order for me to, get where I needed to go and got to bury that past, man, and keep going, and just, figuring out how to do that, in weird shoes now without, Exhorder on my forehead anymore, But,
it takes a bit of reconfiguration, and yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah. But if you want to get closer to that old Exhorder sound, I'm your boy. I'll be around.
We'll keep our eyes peeled. And definitely we must hook up again when you're closer to things materializing, and let's keep it active.
Definitely, let's do this again, man. We'll catch up, especially when we get to points where we're going to release some stuff, man. I'll hit you up, and we'll talk again for sure.
Well, then I hope you get a little bit of sunshine, but it doesn't look like it from what I can see.
Summer in New Orleans is right around the corner. I'm gonna get more than I bought. I can tell you that.
Well, I'll tell you, we have our fair share here in Germany as well. It's just, yeah.
I do miss coming to see you guys, man. I'll be back over there eventually.
That definitely, we are counting on it.
Absolutely.
Vinnie, thanks for making the time, and I'll hit you up when it goes up.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate you. Keep in touch, you hear?
Keep the faith.
Put them up. Love you, man.
Cheers, man.